A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In Ayat 3 of Surah Taha, in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the word yakhshaa and not taqwa to describe those who fear Allah. The word yakhshaa is derived from the term Khasheeyat. So what is Khasheeyat and how is it different from khauf, fear, and Taqwa, God consciousness? Fear or khauf is a very strange phenomenon. Majority of the people are victims to some form of fear in their lives, and it is this kind of fear which keeps us from the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It has many aspects to it. Firstly, it presents itself as a momentary test which applies to everyone. When we are fearful of something, it envelops us and preoccupies us like no other. But when there's no reason to fear what troubles us, it is as if that fear never entered into our hearts, out of sight and out of mind. Second, fear is presented to us in the form of a subject matter. For example, we may have a fear of missing the train, but when that train is boarded, then no fear prevails. Here, the subject matter is the train and the fear is momentary, because once the boarding is actualized, the fear disappears. Another example is fear of failing a test in class if one is not prepared for it. But for some reason, if that class is cancelled or dismissed, the fear also goes away immediately. Other types of fears are like losing someone, our deteriorating health, and the fear of our salah being qaza. But when our loved ones pass away, or when our health improves for the better, or when we make the effort to say our salah on time, all such fears also disappear. Khasheeyat, on the other hand, is fear in its purest form. It is the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when one is in complete awe of Him. Those blessed with this kind of fear are of a different nature. They are the ones who have marifat, spiritual knowledge or truth acquired through experience. Or are the ulama, the scholars of Islamic doctrine and law? In the true sense of the word, the Prophet ﷺ said that he has the most khashiyat of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has highlighted such people in the Quran. He mentions, in fact, only those among His servants who possess knowledge fear Allah. So khashiyat is that fear when it is mixed with such knowledge which makes one in awe of his creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inculcates feelings of Muhabbat or Ishq Haqqiqi within them. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also tells us that people with khashiyat are in awe of their Lord and fear to disappoint Him and are afraid of the terrible reckoning. The beauty of khashiyat is that it is a permanent state, whereas khauf or fear in its literal sense is temporary. For those in a state of khashiyat, it must be required of them to also have belief in the Ghaib, the unknown, although they have not seen Him, shall have forgiveness and a great reward. Just imagine, for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his true Habibs, his friends, are those who never even saw Him, who believe in Him even today, based on what the Quran and Hadith talk about him. Essentially, people like you and me. This is belief in the Ghaib, the unseen. As you and I never laid our eyes or ever saw Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we simply heard and obeyed. It is for this belief that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam holds us in a higher regard than his own chosen Sahaba, who were his true and dedicated followers. If such is the love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam exudes for us, then can we ever even imagine how much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves us for having belief in Him without ever knowing Him through our five senses? This belief in the Ghaib is one of the articles of our faith and is required for our belief system to hold true. The word Ajr in Ayat number 12 of Surah Mulk is used here for reward. What does Ajr mean? It is a reward that one gets from before the actuality of the performance of the act, as long as one has the proper niyat laced with the integrity of ikhlas. That is why when we express the intention of doing a good deed for someone, they reply saying, "May Allah give you ajr for it." And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls it a kabir, a great reward. Jaza, on the other hand, is a reward that Allah may give us after the performance of the good deed, and the multiple factor of the reward varies from deed to deed. That is why when someone does a good deed for us, we immediately say Jazakallah to them. Hence, it is different from Ajr. The reward from Sawab is greater in the sense it is additional, which is essentially the Ajr and the Jaza from the good deed. So, when we bless someone with Sawab, we are asking Allah to bless that person even more. Surah Yunus, Ayat 57, and Surah Hud, Ayat 120 in a nutshell, enlighten us that the Quran is indeed the reminder, that it is an admonition for the muttaqi, the people of Taqwa, and the khashiyin, people with Khasheeyat, that the actualization of coming towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is laid in the seed of Iman, our faith, and that Taqwa, God consciousness, is the fruit of that Iman. Also, every muttaqi is a mu'min, a believer, but every mu'min is not a muttaqi. Therefore, every mu'min's miraj, or the ascension, is taqwa. This Ramzan, let us pray to Allah to allow us to strive towards marifat, to let us try to become the arif who worships Him for no other reason other than the fact that He subhanahu wa ta'ala is worthy of being worshipped as our creator, to give us the opportunity to always be in awe of Him, even in our most troubled times, to let the Khasheeyat within us flow effortlessly so that we can reflect His Muhabbat onto the creation. If you have liked this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and do share it with your loved ones. The link is in the feed below. Wishing you all a very blessed Ramzan, and may the light of Al-Muzzammil shine upon you and your loved ones, bringing barakah and peace. Ameen.